welcome back. I'm Crystal.
I'm Kayla.
And today we're going to be talking about Alcatraz.
Major history there.
Yeah.
So, did you actually know it started off as before it was anything, it was native tribes.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turned into a military, reservation. And it was meant to, protect the Bay Area and all that stuff. And then it went to a prison.
Yeah. Did not know about all that.
Yeah. It has, a huge history besides just, Alcatraz and, being famous for being a prison.
Yeah.
A maximum security prison.
Crazy.
Where people actually tried to escape for some reason. Why?
And never...
Sharks.
Anybody never really made it, did they?
I don't think anyone survived.
Yeah. Okay.
People escaped.
Yeah.
But, I don't think they, made it far.
Because I know people escaped, but they,
never
found their bodies.
No.
They just disappeared.
Or they got ate by a shark.
Right.
Numerous sharks. They turned into shark bait. Ooh-ah.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, in 34 is when it actually opened. The first warden there, he actually served as California Department of Corrections. He was the prison administrator there for 12 years until he retired. And it was James Johnson. And then he did 14 years as the first warden of Alcatraz. And, they used it as an experiment.
That's crazy.
To segregate it.
Yeah.
Completely away from everyone in any, human society. They basically took the harshest criminals, the most violent, or, tax evasion and everything like that. Not, violent crimes, but, very severe crimes.
Yeah.
And they just segregated them. No other people. You were literally on an island.
Nothing around you.
Nope. You had your cell and the people around you.
Right.
Good luck. Good luck. And that place is huge.
Yeah.
I have pictures that we're going to show too.
Mm-hmm.
But that place is ginormous.
I bet. That would be a good place to go check out.
Yeah, for sure.
Too. Yeah.
Because, it's just got a lot of history. Aside from, being a prison, which is always, a cool place to, investigate, which I don't even know if people actually can investigate there anymore. Right. I know people have in the past, but I don't know if you can actually book it for an investigation.
Yeah.
It would just be so cool to get to see all that history.
Oh yeah.
It's huge. It's Alcatraz. Yeah. Everyone knows.
There's movies about it, everything.
You know what it reminds me of when I hear it though?
What?
I'm gonna be a real big nerd right now. Azkaban. Think of Azkaban from Harry Potter.
Oh my God.
It is on an island with the most violent criminals on an island. Azkaban. Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Tell me you don't think the same.
Yeah.
I thought of that doing this research. I'm like, this is giving me Harry Potter vibes.
Right.
I don't know why.
Your favorite.
Yeah. I'm just a nerd about it. What can I say? I love it. So yeah, they use this prison as a blueprint basically to see if this method would work. And it actually did, because other prisons opened up, transforming into a completely segregated prison, and a lot of it.
Yeah.
The sad thing was they did not have a lot to do there.
Yeah. Then they always only get 2 hours of your time, on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday.
For 2 hours.
That's crazy.
You get 4 hours a week.
That's crazy. I couldn't.
You get to see the sunlight.
I would go crazy.
4 hours a week.
Mm-mm.
I would go insane.
They did play baseball in there though. That was a huge thing in the prison. Was the baseball.
Until they started rioting.
Yeah.
And fighting and stabbing each other. Because that happened there.
That's
too.
all they had to do.
And it was basically an inmate said something degrading about another inmate.
Yeah.
And he just went up and stabbed him.
That's crazy.
And luckily no one was severely injured. I don't think the stab wound was deathly, fatal, whatever. But yeah, they just whatever, just strike 3, stab. But yeah, they had literally nothing to do other than baseball, and they would listen. I saw something online that they were allowed to listen to the World Series back then. They had radios, and that's what they did.
Oh,
they
wow.
would listen to baseball because they had nothing to do.
Right.
They were not
if they
given.
placed bets. Place bets on the teams.
Hey, man, I'll give you a shiv if
right.
they, you know.
I'll trade you shanks.
I'll trade you shanks. I'll give you a shiv.
Some cigarettes.
They probably did. Hey, man.
Oh, man.
I bet if they get one home run this game, you won't go shank this person.
Right.
Like, do you think that would happen?
They probably did.
Like,
oh, man.
Put a hit on someone.
That's crazy.
Via betting World Series.
That's crazy.
That's terrible.
I feel for them people.
I mean, they were prisoners. They were inmates. They
were killers.
They clearly did something to be there. And, like, I did a lot of research on this place. Like, it got crazy. People were known as, like, the Mad Dog Killers. Sorry, we had to take a brief pause because the doggies were going crazy. But this was our, he said he was an inmate at Alcatraz. That's what he just told me, so he wanted to be in the video.
He did some shanking.
Did you shank people? Did you shank?
Max.
Look at those eyes. He said, I didn't do it. I was convicted, but I was innocent. I didn't do it.
Oh, my goodness.
So, anyway, I don't even remember what we were at.
The yard, 2 hours of...
2 hours in the yard, yeah.
In the yard.
They had no life.
Yeah.
The Mad Dog Killers. That's where I was going with it. Okay, like, famous prison inmates.
Yes.
So, obviously, Al Capone was there. He was
Big
huge.
One. Yep.
I mean, he was literally, like, the gangster.
Yeah.
The mobster, whatever you want to call him. Like, that was it. He was huge.
I was told, too, like, his cell was, like, laid out. Like, he paid the the guards to, like, have, like, carpet, a real mattress, you know, and a lamp.
Well, shit, he made so much money.
Yeah.
Well, he ended up in prison for that because, you know, tax evasion and all that.
And everybody was jealous because, like, he had, like, the kingdom of cells.
Yeah. I mean, someone tried to stab him in the shower. Yeah. And claimed self-defense.
Okay.
Self-defense as in, I want your cell.
Right.
Please and thank you.
So I want your stuff.
I'm going to stab you for it.
Yeah.
Didn't work. He lived. So, he actually was released, though. And then it got really sad for him. Mm-hmm. I mean, he got really sick. Mm-hmm. He agrees, too. He got really, really sick, and he was declared, like, he had the mentality of a 12-year-old, basically. And then he just died from stroke and pneumonia. And
that's crazy. How old was he? Do you know?
He died in 47.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't think he was that old.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he had, you know, a couple years outside of prison. Mm-hmm. And he lived out his days pretty luxurious because all this man had to do was pay back the taxes, pay his fines, and get on out of there. Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, I don't feel like it was too bad for him.
Right.
I feel like people really, aside from him getting stabbed once.
Yeah.
Like, there's not much known about, like, him getting in fights or... Mm-hmm. I feel like people probably didn't mess with him too much because he was such a big name. Like,
right. He probably ran the place.
Probably.
He was probably running hits in there.
Probably.
Running all the bets.
Right. Something. He's like, hey, man, I'll bet you a piece of my carpet for... I'll give you a section of my carpet in my room.
There was one guy though who tried to kill him too. Was that James Tex Lucas?
Mm-hmm. He stabbed him and in the shower, claiming self-defense. And he was one of the violent prisoners that we actually looked into a little bit. Mm-hmm. He was a troublemaker basically in there, and I truly think it was probably because he was very jealous of him.
Yeah.
I would be jealous too if I had to be in a cell with a shit mattress and nothing, and this dude had a TV and carpet and a nice shrine. Mattress, and I mean, they're all in prison. I'd be jealous as heck. Mm-hmm. But so he got really sick and then eventually passed away. George Machine Gun Kelly. So it's not like Machine Gun Kelly, obviously.
I thought so.
When we talked about it. So we talked about doing Alcatraz, and she looked into it, and she was like, wait, Machine Gun Kelly was there? I was like, Crystal, I don't think it's our generation Machine Gun Kelly. I think there's probably one in history somewhere that ended there. I said Alcatraz hasn't been open for a hot minute, girl.
Maybe his grandpa.
It could be his grandpa.
Yeah.
You never know.
He lived on the name.
But he was famous in there, too. He was a big dude. He actually was convicted and sentenced to basically life in prison without possibility of parole because he kidnapped and held this man hostage. So he went to someone's house, a couple's house, and a wealthy couple was basically playing cards with another wealthy couple. And they asked for one of the guys' names, and no one spoke up and said anything. Mm-hmm. So they took both dudes. Left the wives at home, like nothing happened. Took both of them. They drove down the road, and they figured out which one was which. So they let the one, I can't remember the guy's name. They let the one that wasn't the person that they wanted to go, but they took him and held him hostage for like 9 days.
Wow.
And then they just released him after they got what they wanted. Like, they just wanted a lump sum of money.
That's crazy.
But they went on like a whole killing spree. Like, him and his partner, they went on a whole killing spree, rampage and everything. Like, he was violent. And that was a long story about it. Like, it went step by step on everything he did. And like, when the hostage was like freed, they were able to find where he was held because he told them, oh, I noticed that a plane goes by every morning and a plane goes by every night. So they were actually able to track down where he was at based by the location where the plane would be overhead at that time.
Wow, that's crazy.
And that's all the way back in like 19...
Right.
God, I can't even remember. I didn't even mark it down, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And people actually, tracked it. So that's kind of cool to think about. You want to talk about the Cleveland guy?
Robert Lipscomb. I can't even say his name.
Lipscomb or something like that.
Lipscomb.
So, he was an Ohioer. Cleveland, Ohio.
That's crazy. Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
And he was institutionalized by his mother by the age of 9, right?
Something like that, yeah. He basically was committing crimes, like, early on.
Who does that at, like, 9 years old?
This dog's going crazy today. So...
He was declared psychotic at 9.
Yeah. And, I mean, that's a harsh thing. Like, a 9-year-old declared...
Yeah.
Psychotic. And then he was in prison by 18. And he lived, a long time in the prison, just, like...
He probably had a rough upbringing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He was big there. But the one that creeped me out the most, honestly, the Birdman of Alcatraz. That dude creeped me out.
Is that Robert Stroud?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, he was a pimp, and he was pimping out prostitutes. And he brutally murdered a bartender, allegedly because the bartender, obviously had some fun with the prostitute and never paid her. So he brutally murdered this man, took his wallet, paid his prostitute, and then got sent to prison.
Oh my goodness.
Thank God, because you can't just brutally murder someone even if, your prostitute doesn't get paid. Still illegal, sir.
He wanted his money.
I mean, yeah, I would want my money too, but I don't think you can murder people.
No.
Just because you want some money.
Right.
So, he actually was, in and out of other prisons, too, which was crazy to hear. But they eventually allowed him to study birds, because he found an injured bird outside. And there's just... They gave him 2 cells. One, for him, and then one was, to...
A lab or something?
Yeah. They turned it in, basically, to a lab, and they, allowed him to breed and study, and...
That's crazy.
I mean, what else is he gonna do?
Yeah.
It kept him out of trouble, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Probably kept him from killing other people in
Exactly. So maybe,
Yeah.
Maybe that was good. Yeah. I mean, he did write books on it that are still used today for science. Yeah. So, good for him.
Right.
you still gotta stay, because, you know, you murdered someone. And you didn't do too well in the other prisons we sent you to. Mm-hmm. So, I think he was eventually released, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was crazy to read about. Like, how much freedom he was actually given. And you gotta think, like, were other people jealous of him? Because he had 2 cells. Right. So Al Capone over here getting spoiled with a TV, carpet, anything he wanted. Yeah. And then the Birdman getting 2 cells. And getting the freedom to study, research, write, all of this, basically. No one bugged him. Mm-hmm. I don't think I would bug him either. Right. But that's not the point. I wonder if people got jealous of him, too.
I bet. Probably did.
So let's talk about why it's so haunted there. Or why we think it's haunted and what we've heard.
Yeah. Can you imagine how many people died in that?
Probably a lot.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta think, like, before it was a prison, what was it?
The military.
And native tribes lived there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of well-known haunted places come from historic native tribes. Yeah. So you gotta think that has some energy to it too. And then it was military, which it meant to protect the Bay Area. I didn't see too much like about the military there, so I don't know if there was like any, I don't think there was any like wars, battles, fights or anything there. Yeah. But like I'm sure people weren't happy having to be on an island. And then it turned into this very, very harsh prison. Right. Speaking of harsh, I think the main reason that it could be haunted is what happened in the strip cells. Yeah. Like, that's a scary thing. So, basically, solitary confinement, they would have strip cells. And you would be stripped of all of your clothing. You would have no clothing. You would have no sink, no toilet, no mattress, no lights, no nothing, no food, no water, no nothing.
Nothing, just the floor and the 4 walls around you. Yeah.
And if you had to go potty, you did it in a hole. Yep. Imagine the smell. Oh.
That would be...
No thanks.
That would make a person go crazy.
I would go crazy very quickly. Yeah. If I had to stay there like that. So I think, personally, that could be why it was haunted. Yeah. Because, like, the harsh treatment like that. Yeah. That's harsh. But then it talks about, like, they had Christmas parties where they would, the guards would physically, like, see shadow, like, mist of people, and then they would just disappear. Yeah. Or...
And what about the one inmate who said that he saw a figure with red eyes?
Oh, yeah, and it said it was gonna, like, kill him.
Yeah, like, he was scared of it. And then, was it the next day they found him dead?
So one night he's, like, saying, there's a creature in here trying to kill me.
Yeah, like, freaking out.
And then the next day, he's dead. Yeah. And the guard's just like, a what?
Right. Like, what happened?
Scary.
Crazy.
Scary. Don't like that. And then I saw something where they would hear, like, cannons or gunshots going off, and then guards would, like, go to check to see if, like, inmates somehow got out of their cells and, like, stole weapons, but nothing. Could you imagine just, like, randomly hearing cannons? Right. Like, gunshots?
From the wars? Or no, well, we said there wasn't a wars, right?
But I'm sure there was, like, cannons or something.
Yeah.
Or, like, a cannon saying, or like a siren or something saying like, oh, a prisoner escaped. Yeah. So maybe it was something like that. Right. But then nothing happened.
Who knows? Maybe it's haunted because of all those people who tried to escape and never made it. Yeah. And they're just now haunting that place, like...
Yeah.
You know?
That's a good theory. Because, I mean, people tried to escape and, yeah, they did not make it very far.
Right. Yeah.
I don't even know how you would escape.
I don't know.
I didn't do too much research because, like, it's a whole big thing.
You ever watch Prison Break?
No.
Oh, that's a good one.
I've never seen it.
That's a good show. It does show about a guy. He gets, like, the whole prison layout tattooed all over his body, and he finds a way to escape the prison.
Through his tattoo? Huh.
Yeah. And, like, he goes into detail about, like, all the movement in the prison, the times that everything happens. He recruits, like, 2 other guys with him that they all escape at the same time. It's a really good movie, a really good series.
Dang.
Yeah.
I might have to watch that.
And the only reason why he goes into the prison because he was like an engineer, like an architect or something like that. And he only goes into the prison because of his brother. His brother got put into prison for like a wrongful murder or something like that. I can't exactly remember. But yeah, so he goes in to help his brother get out. But it's really crazy. It's a good series. You have to check it out.
I might have to.
Yeah.
I've seen like the documentaries of like 60 Days In or 30 Days In or something like that.
I like watching those too.
Like, it's just crazy. Yeah. I wish, I'm not saying like I wish Alcatraz was still open, but like I wish that was a thing back then. Yeah. So we actually like got a better picture of what Alcatraz was like. Mm-hmm. But it's really cool that you can just go in and explore the history and, you know, you get to walk the cells and be on that island and, you know, it would be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, I think, if we get to go.
It'd be a great experience.
For sure. Yeah. But that's pretty much what we found on Alcatraz. It was a lot. I mean, we could go on for an extremely long time, but you guys don't want to hear all that. If you do, let us know, and we can definitely, you know, talk about it on maybe a live or something sometime.
Or Discord.
Yeah. Discord's a perfect place for, you know, people to join.
Discussions.
Yeah. I'm going to tag... some photos in here, or I'm going to add some photos in here of Alcatraz. Dylan Stevens from Haunted Nights actually went there, and I asked him to send me some pictures and asked him if I could use it for this podcast, so thank you, Dylan.
Awesome.
And he took some awesome pictures, guys, like truly amazing. So if you don't follow, you know, Steve and Dylan on Haunted Nights, go do that. They're awesome. So thank you, Dylan. Join our Discord, comment, like, subscribe. We will see you next week. We're not going to tell you what we're doing because it's going to be a lot of fun what we're doing, and we're actually going to go to this next place in August. Catch you next week.
See ya.